Hi, I'm Tiffany Ragozzino.
And I'm Lee Jimenez. Today we're going to teach you everything you need to know about kettlebells before you start your workout.
What to look for when you're purchasing a kettlebell, the different parts of a kettlebell, holds, proper form, injury prevention, and common mistakes.
Before you can begin your kettlebell journey, let's talk about what to look for when purchasing a kettlebell. The best kettlebell materials that I would go and look for is powder coated to go and prevent any type of slipping when my hands get sweaty.
Totally agree.
Of course. And then also a cast iron option. For me, it's because I really focus on hard style. That means strength more than anything else versus a rubberized. Now, if you are at home and training, a rubberized kettlebell is gonna protect any of your floors, your furniture, and you can go and find those through TRX or as well as Amazon.com.
Some of my favorite places to buy kettlebells are through Rogue. You can also find them on Amazon, your local Target. Rogue tends to be my favorite because it doesn't have that extra rubber on the bottom. So when I put my kettlebell down, it's super stable. Where do you like to buy them?
I love to go to kettlebellkins.com because they're gonna go and have a various array of options that are both gonna be powder coated as well as being the cast iron option that I like to work out with.
Let's talk about kettlebell sizes. So if you notice, Lee and I have an array of kettlebell sizes right here next to us. So when you are shopping for a kettlebell, you're gonna notice there's gonna be two numbers usually. You're gonna have a kilogram, so this is 6 kg, and then this has underneath 13 pounds. Now, I will give you a heads up, some of them don't come in kilograms, they might just be in pounds, but I like to have a 6 kg to start out with any of my upper body movements, especially when they're newer and challenging. I wanna work on my technique, so I love having a low weight to work with. And then as I get more advanced and stronger, I'm gonna have some different ones. So here I have a 12 kg as well as a 16 kg. I tend to go heavier on the lower body, so I'm gonna probably use some of the heavier ones, but for the upper body, I like to keep it around 6 and 8 to start out. How about you?
I'm definitely more of that hard style strength conditioning type of kettlebell trainer. So as we go through our workouts, you'll notice that I'll have something heavier, normally starting around 16, and I'll normally end off around 32 kilograms. Again, I'm focusing on the quality of my movements, not so much the quantity. So depending on which direction you want to go into, whether it's your more ballistic movement or your grinding movements, is how you can go and choose your kettlebell choices. Know that you want to start somewhere lighter to warm up your body and then slowly progress by going and increasing the increment in weight.
Okay, now that you've gotten your kettlebell that works best for you, let's talk about the anatomy of the kettlebell. So this is our base. This is the base of our kettlebell. This is the body of our bell. This is our handle. Lee is holding it from the horns. So when you were holding it with two hands, just like Lee is right here, he's holding it from the horns. He can also hold it from the corner. So now he has one thumb wrapped around, single arm, and this is from the corner.
Fun fact, Tiffany, are you ready for this?
I love a fun fact.
Do you know that kettlebells have been around for thousands of years, and way back when they were used just to go and bear weight in marketplaces in Russia in the 1800s, way before we even started to use them for functional exercise.
Hello, functional fitness at its finest.
Now let's get a little bit deeper and talk about proper technique by our holding form of our kettlebell. Tiffany's gonna go and demonstrate a few of our ways of going and holding the kettlebell by starting with holding the body of the bell. So this is a good starting place, especially if you're new to kettlebell training. She's gonna have her palms of her hands wrapped around and her elbows are in nice and tight. She feels super duper secure. How do you feel right here?
Feel good,
awesome.
I'm engaged, here we go.
She has the base of the bell facing down towards the ground. Now you also have the option to go and do bottoms up. Flip that over for us. And notice that the weight is now resting inside the palm of her hands. It's almost like she's creating a bowl, okay? Beautiful, Tiffany. Your option number 2 from the body of the bell is to go and hold it by the horn. So she's gonna flip it over again. Her hands are wrapped over, and again, she has it bottoms up, or she can flip it with the base down towards the ground. Amazing. Now, your third option as you slowly start to go and progress with single-handed work, where she'll have the thumb coming underneath the corner of the bell, her elbows are in nice and tight. I also want you to notice that her wrist right now isn't going and popping out. She's keeping the wrist engaged nice and straight with her knuckles coming in towards her chin. This is gonna be the safest way to go and hold your kettlebell with a single-handed work. We now know how to go and hold our kettlebell, we understand the anatomy of our kettlebell, and let's take it even further to prevent injury with proper form. Tiffany, do you mind going and demonstrating a few stances?
I got you.
Beautiful. We're gonna start with our kettlebell stance. I want you to think that you wanna look down at your kettlebell and you wanna have about distance from your kettlebell that you're creating a triangle shape. So your kettlebell is gonna be the tip of the triangle, your feet are gonna be the base of that triangle, and then Tiffany's gonna hinge from her hips and keep a nice long spine. Her chin is parallel to her chest, her shoulders are down and back, and notice that she's protecting her cervical spine by looking down. Now, Tiffany, what's 2 things that you can go and do to go and show improper form?
So one common thing I see is people looking up. So now I do not have a neutral neck right here. Another common thing I see is a rounded back.
Those are 2 things that we want to stay away from the entire time in any of our kettlebell stances, okay? Now, she's already in the perfect position for a deadlift. So Tiffany, if you would demonstrate a deadlift, stand up nice and tall, and then hinging as she reaches for the ground. She wants to go and feel this in her glutes, her quads, and her hamstrings, and keeping the core engaged the entire time. One of the things that I see often in these deadlifts is people hyperextend by leaning all the way back. Tiffany, could you show that? We don't want that at all. You want to stand up nice and tall, engaging your core at the top rather than leaning back. Perfect. Thank you so much, Tiffany. The next thing that I want us to focus on is our kettlebell swing. So she's already standing up, and I want you to see what most people go and do with the kettlebell swing starting from this position. Go ahead for your swing. Right? It's flailing, it's not in control, you're not going engaging your hamstrings, your glutes, or even your core. Now, Tiffany, take it back down to your kettlebell stance. Shoulders are back, and now demonstrate the kettlebell swing from here. She's increasing her range of motion, and now she's hitting those 3 points that she should be feeling in her kettlebell swing. How do you feel right now?
Feel good. I love that this is a total body movement. My core is super engaged, my glutes, my hamstrings, everything.
Beautiful. Tiffany, if you would bring that kettlebell to your chest, and now we're gonna go and demonstrate our kettlebell squat, right? Her feet are right underneath her hips, her toes are slightly turned out so that she has more hip space, and now go for your range of motion in your squat. Notice that her chest is nice and tall, her belly's off of her thighs, shoulders are down and back, and the elbows are in. Make sure that her core is engaged the entire time. How does this feel?
This feels great. And one thing to remember, if your core is not engaged at the bottom, you're probably gonna see a lot of rounding and the kettlebell is going to pull you down. So make sure that upper back is engaged, core is engaged, so that you're nice and upright.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Last and final movement is gonna go and be our isometric movement to go and really find those muscle imbalances. We call this our staggered stance. So Tiffany's gonna place 1 foot in front, and then she's gonna step 1 foot diagonally behind her. Notice how she's going and keeping her feet apart, kind of like the 2 railroad tracks that we referred to before, okay? You never wanna feel like you're on a tightrope. The kettlebell is gonna go and be inside of the ankle of the front leg, and then she's gonna reach for it for either 1 hand or 2 hands. Right here in this position already, what can you go and feel engaged?
I feel my hamstrings, my glutes, everything's firing up.
Beautiful. She's gonna stand up nice and tall, and then she's gonna hinge again. She's making sure that she's distributing weight not only through the front heel, but also through her back toes the entire time. This is a great way for you to go and improve any muscle imbalances and really strengthen, again, your quads, your hamstrings, and even your glutes. Great job, Tiffany. And those are some options for our proper form when you're working with your kettlebell. Now, one of the questions that I get all the time is, Lee, what is the benefit of working with a kettlebell versus with working out with dumbbells? And it's really, really simple. The moment that you pick up your kettlebell, you're having to go and stabilize your core as well as all your intrinsic muscles. The reason being is that you have the handle on one side and then the weight on the other. When you're working with a dumbbell, your hand is already in the center of 2 weights, and so the weight is already balancing itself. You wanna go and dig a little bit deeper and really focus on your core engagement.
One of my favorite things about training with a kettlebell compared to other types of workouts is the stability factor. My core is engaged the whole time, shoulder stability, there's so much going on, and I really get to focus in on my stability overall in my body.
I couldn't agree more. I feel that the effectiveness of how my body responds to a kettlebell workout versus a dumbbell workout is tenfold. I always like to go and think 100 kettlebell swings versus 100 dumbbell swings, and how my body responds is like nothing else that I've ever seen before. The kettlebell is definitely my go-to.
Let's talk about some common mistakes we see when people use kettlebells and how to avoid them. So one of the #1 things I see is the kettlebell swing being done as a squat. So Lee is gonna show us incorrect form for that. So he's gonna do a kettlebell swing, but he's gonna be squatting. So this is what we want to avoid, because our kettlebell swing is not a squat movement, it is a hinge. So Lee is gonna show us how to properly do it, take out the squat and include the hinge. So he is hinging at the hips. Good, bringing that up. So Be super careful with this one. It's probably the one I see the most.
I have
It
to
is
agree.
not a squat.
Not a squat.
It is a hinge, friends.
1000%. The second thing that I normally go and see is how people focus on their holds, okay? So let's talk about that single arm hold. So she's gonna go and bring that over to her chest. And the very first thing that I see is wrist is out, and also it's out by your shoulder. That's a big, big no-no. You wanna bring your thumb towards your chest and start to go and fix your wrist so that your knuckles are right underneath your chest. That's gonna go and activate your wrist as well as your forearm and protect any potential shoulder impingements or injuries. Focus on your swing, focus on your single arm hold, make sure that you have that nice and close to your chest, and don't let your wrist fall out. Another common mistake is how people go and hold their kettlebell. So let's talk about that single arm front rack. So one of the things that people do is that they have it out by their shoulder and then the wrist is out. This can go and create injury as well as shoulder impingement. What you wanna do is you wanna bring your thumb to your chest, elbow into the rib cage, and start to straighten out your wrist so that your knuckles are pointed towards your chin. This is what's gonna go and protect you from any type of shoulder injury and keep you engaged throughout your exercises.
Another common mistake we see is overtraining. Lee, how do you feel about overtraining?
So I am 1000% guilty of overtraining.
Me too.
I train for marathons, I do different type of athletic competitions, and there's just times where my body just says enough is enough. So my rule of thumb is 3 days of training, 1 day off. Because although we work out hard, we have to recover even harder in order to go and see any type of improvement in our performance, as well as in our endurance or in our athleticism.
And something else to think about is listening to your body. So if you were like, I want to do a lower body workout today, but you are so sore and you can barely walk like baby giraffe, maybe leg day isn't for you today. Maybe you switch it to upper body, you focus on something else. So really listen and check in with your body before you start your workout. That's everything you need to know before you start your kettlebell workout. I'm Tiffany Ragozzino.
And I'm Lee Jimenez. And now that you're armed with all this fantastic kettlebell knowledge, let's get into our 5 workouts right here with Sweat with Self. See you soon.